Absolute Emperor by Boyd Bruce. So you want to play Absolute Emperor, do you? Well, you're looking at the wrong guy. I've never played this. I haven't even read the whole rule set. Where do I get off telling you, dear viewer, how to get ready to play Absolute Emperor? Well, I just ruined it. I'm not telling you how to play the game. I'm telling you how to get ready to play the game. One of the things I love about this miniature wargaming hobby is that it is not a hobby for everyone. It's not for dumb people. It's not for people with a low time preference. If you're the kind of guy that needs to sit down, open a box, and I'm ready to start playing, this is not the hobby for you. You gotta order this book from Osprey. And it's gonna come in, well, I mean, if you're ordering through, you know, Jeff Bezos' online Five and Dime, you might get it in a couple of days. But still, you gotta buy the book. And okay, now that I've bought the book, now I can figure out what figures I need. Well, wait a minute. I'm done collecting figures. I got an extensive collection. Will they work with this game? How do you know? Nobody talks about this stuff. What you need to do to get ready to play the game. I think this is an important topic. I think a lot of people out there are eyeballing. They're giving the old Absolute Emperor the eye, and they're like, man, do I want to take her out? Do I want to take her for a little test drive? But they don't know. Because they don't know if they got the stuff. They don't know what to order, and that's what this video is really all about. So the first thing we should talk about is the fact that this game is designed for core level actions, and you're going to build actually army level, because you can have multiple cores, but we'll get to that. The big thing is you're going to have a stand that is you, and then you're going to have corps commanders who are going to have divisions around him, and the main unit is going to be divisions. Now, the divisions for this are going to represent between like 5,000 men for the 3 to 5,000, I want to say, for an infantry, and then a full battery of cannons. Okay, so you may want to do this. Well, the first thing to be aware of is basing conventions, and Boyd Bruce, man, he's been around the block a few times, you can tell, because he has anticipated a lot of the problems that you might have and a lot of the objections you might have to ordering Absolute Emperor. And he says, look, don't stress out so much about the basing conventions. The reason I bought this, I hadn't even looked at it until, man, who was it that said you can play Absolute Emperor with 2mm figures? Storm of Steel guy, I think. No, it was Rob over at Rob's Tabletop World. He said, I got a bunch of 2mm figures, so I'm looking forward to this. And I was like, bro, 2mm gamers rise up. That's what I got. He said I could do a 2mm. I'd never heard that before. You can, because it's all about the base size. So the key thing with this game is that you want your frontage to be consistent. Depths don't really matter. And the ratio is going to be for every inch of width, or centimeter if you prefer for some weird reason, for every unit of width of your artillery, your infantry are going to have a width of 3 and your cavalry 4. So in my case, all of my blocks of 2mm troops are on 1-inch bases. Well, I'll put down one base for a artillery unit. I'll put down a line of 3 for my infantry, and I'll put down a line of 4 for my cavalry. Skadoosh, I'm done. So if that's my army right there, I know I'm going to need a total of 8 bases if I've got 1 horse, 1 foot, and 1 gun. If I want a couple of more foot, I'm going to wind up needing an additional 6 more bases, right? So 1 gun, 3 foot, and 1 troop of cavalry is going to be a total of 14 bases. Plus my leader, 15 bases, and I'm done. If you are using 15mm figures and you're putting 4 of them on a 1-inch base, it's the same thing. If I'm putting one 28mm guy on a 1-inch base, it's the same thing. Now, you may have 40mm frontages. Hey, no problem with, like, I don't know, 8 to 12 figures on it in 15 or 28mm. That's no problem. As long as if you've got a 40mm frontage for your cannon, then you're going to want to use 3 bases with 40mm frontage for your infantry and 4 for your cavalry. That's really all you need to know. But the next thing I want to talk about, and this will probably be a short video, is that, because there's really not a whole lot after that, he does give you a point buy. Now, in the back, I've said before, one of the things I like to look at when I'm looking at a game is, show me your scenarios. I want to see what you have designed this game for. I want to see how close your vision of the game is to, man, this is one of my favorite paintings ever. What is this, Talavera? The British secure the Cerro de Medellin by Graham Turner. Cerro de Medellin. Oh, yeah, Talavera, 1809. It's just so great, man. These French guys, they look so French. I just love it. And they're just like, oh, who's ready to get kebabbed in the brisket? These British guys, too, they're like, I'll stab you. I'll cut a frog. But, I mean, they look, well, this guy looks a little bored. I love this guy's expression. I don't know if you can see it. I might need to bring out the other. He's just, like, bored with it. He's like, done. We got to do this again. Oh, boy. Anyway, getting back to the scenarios. This, bear with me, okay? This is the learning. The advanced squad leader, right? We're going to assault the tractor works first. He says, look, we're going to have some woods and a village and a hill, and there's 2 infantry divisions going after 2 infantry divisions, but the 2 on the hill are backed by the cannon. You handle these 5 units, and then we have the second Battle of Bumville, and we're going to add Bumville is hilarious. I love that kind of fake name. That's where the bums live. You can insert your favorite Ohio city here. Third battle, the second battle, we're going to add a couple more. Hey, look, we're going to add an additional, what is that? Another battery on the side of the townies, and we're going to add a couple of flights of troops. Except now the townies are attacking the hill. Hey, isn't that fun? And then we have a third battle of Bumville, where we add a grand battery that's being attacked by, I think those are elites. And then, hey, we're going to do Elau. I think that's how you pronounce it. So this is great, man. This is great. You can build up the complexity, and you can build up your collection. I only have my 2 little, 1 cannon apiece and 2 little dudes. No problem. Then you build up, and here we have, so in the case of Elau, you are looking at, and I'm just going to count this live. It's going to be a total of 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20. On the side of France, it's going to be, wait a minute, what am I looking at here? No, on the side of France, it's going to be like 16 divisions, right? So again, if you're having about an average of 3 bases per, you're looking at about 50 bases worth of dudes. 4 guys to a base, that's still 200 figures. That's pretty good, man. You may want to build up to that. You may want to find another game that will let you play with your little dudes. I mean, there's got to be some game somewhere that will let you play with like 20 dudes before you mount them on or even blue tack them on a base. I'm sure you could probably think of one. Hi, Chosen Men, how are you? Anyway, so we got about 20 divisions, maybe 80 figures. Same thing, the Russians are up here in green, and you've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There you go, 14 divisions. It's just as easy as that. It also includes brief map and setup for Wagram and Waterloo. I just wish it had quarter brass, because is quarter brass part of Wagram? Because I just like saying quarter brass. Like I've never played Napoleonics. Or like I'm from Chicago. Either way. Walks you through it. So that gives you a better idea. Oh, no, it does not. I'm not done because I wanted to show you the point cost. So you want to build your own points. We're going to go with a core. It's going to be about 100 points, right? So let's take a look here at this chart, and I'm going to cover up most of it so we don't get dinged by the copyright people. Looking at the French, if you want to put together a French force, you got 100 points. Your corps commander is going to cost anywhere from 10 to 25 points, so you've got 85 to 70 left over. Well, what'll that get you? If we want to go with a couple of veteran infantry, that's going to cost us 20 points. So 2 divisions of veteran infantry brings us up to 40. Let's just take an average commander at 20 points. We're at 60. Now we got some choices to make. We can make a veteran light cavalry for 32. And then we're going to buy just one. Oh, where's this? Where's your? Oh, field artillery. We're going to buy 2 field artillery at 9 points apiece. There's your 100. So what are we at? 2 veteran infantry, 2 cannons, a flight of horses, and we're done. Right? There's your 1 corps. And if you want to do another corps, hey, that's no problem. Play a 200-point game. Not a big deal. You're going to have 2 corps commanders. They need to stay within, I think it's 8 inches of the overall army commander, and then all of their units need to stay within 18 inches of him. Or no, it's 36 inches, I'm sorry. Again, the scale is fungible. if you are playing with 28 millimeter figures and you've got a 5x8 table, then first of all, I'm jealous. That's awesome. You're going to measure everything in terms of, let me look it up here. Movement is going to be in terms of, here we go, 28. Oh, 54 millimeter. Look at that. Oh, man, he's even got ranges for that. If you're playing this with 54 millimeter dudes, I'm super jealous. I want to play. Can I come over to your house and play? Movement is going to be basically 8 inches, 8 to 16 inches, and then for us guys that are playing at 15 millimeter and smaller, you're going to be measuring 2 to 4. So with the 2 millimeter figures, I'm just going to be playing on like a 2x2 table. My dudes are only going to be moving like 3 or 4 inches per turn and exerting a zone of control that's about 2 inches across. So the ratios are about the same. And like I said, but if you have 2 core commanders that each have a corps that is a wing of your army, your corps commanders are going to have to stay in command. And that's the other thing with Absolute Emperor that we should probably talk about, that the chief mechanic here is one called Elan. And Elan is a big bucket that abstracts a whole lot of different things, but it's all about your commander's capability to exert control over the battlefield and to allow his sub-commanders control over their individual section of the battlefield. Both of those are important. It doesn't matter if you're the overall commander, how good you are. If you're micromanaging and you're not giving your number 2 free reign to do what needs to be done, that's going to cause friction, battlefield friction. It's going to slow you down. So Elan is this concept of, how much can you do? And it allows you get Elan because your boys did something great. They captured an objective. You get an Elan. Then you can spend that Elan to re-roll a failed attack elsewhere. You got to it's a resource to be spent and managed and preserved so you can use it at that critical juncture. And being able to recognize that juncture is a big part of what this game is all about. That's a lot of talking with me just kind of waving my hands at a cover. As usual, and it's, like I said, I haven't read it cover to cover. I just looked at, is this really the kind of game that I want to play? Yeah, it's engagingly written. Bruce has a gift for writing. It's that great blend of, hey, we can play loosey-goosey. If you got some terrain that I haven't figured out in the rules, here's some suggestions for some oddball stuff. I don't know, tilting at windmills, that kind of thing. If you're doing an assault off of boats, right? You've got a defensive force that's doing trying to prevent guys from unloading on a boat. That's on my list of things to do. It's great. It's good for nice, friendly pickup games. I think it might make a pretty good tournament game as well because everything is spelled out. But just the basing conventions and the nice little scenarios, I think this is going to be a great addition to any Napoleonic Wargamers collection. And once I've read through it fully, then I'll give you a full review. I'm joking. There's nothing, it's ridiculous. I'm going to have to play 3 or 4 games because you've watched the channel. I'm going to have to get everything wrong the first game and then just half the stuff wrong the second game. And then I'll get it mostly right the third game, and then the 4th game and 5th game I'll forget with the lessons I learned. But after about 4 or 5 games, then we'll have a really good handle on Absolute Emperor, and I'll do a proper review for the archives. That's going to be a long ways away, though, I suspect, because we got a lot of other things to get to first. We're going to be doing a campaign of this, which should be a lot of fun. And until we do get back to the Absolute Emperor, I'm praying for you.